I have here some bobbins of yarn that have already been spun. These have been sitting for a while. You can see that they're still fairly twisty, but if you look at that, you can't tell at all what it should look like when it's plied. It's not kinking up on itself. The twist has settled because these are a week or two old. I am putting bobbins onto the Will Taylor upright tensioned Lazy Kate. So okay, now I'm going to pull this off a little bit. You can see that it's controlling the rate that the bobbins spin at so that things come off it in without getting too floppy on themselves, and there's no tension upstream to manage. If your singles have settled, again, this is likely not a problem for you, or tangling is not going to be so much of a problem for you. So now I've got, doubled strands ready to ply, ready to go here. I've got my leader, which is attached to the bobbin. Build up some twist in the leader. See, my leader is all kinky. I like to use just twist to grab hold of the yarn to be plied. Just getting that on there. Because this Lazy Kate holds everything under tension, I can basically just grab anywhere upstream, and I've got one piece of yarn that it's like I'm adding twist to, because everything is hooked in together. In this case, I just take the yarn and I'm just feeding it as it's coming off the Lazy Kate under tension, neatly tensioned together, and I basically can just feed it. Now this is the easiest way to ply in many respects, simply because you don't even have to think about keeping things tensioned separately. All you have to do is watch the twist as it's going in. Unplied, plied. So this place where I've got it pinched there for the time being is holding the twist out of the yarn as it's plying. Now the part upstream, this part here, you want to see that being twisted, and because we checked our sample, we know it's going to kink up some as we go. We can see the twist. In this case, I'm just feeding it. I'm running it across the back of my hand. It's coming in unplied. Twist is being added, and it's feeding onto the bobbin in its plied form. You get a feel for this after a bit. I'm tensioning it lightly by running it over the back of my hand here. I can feel it and feel the twist going in, putting these fingers out here like this. Now I can tension this other ways too. And this is tensioning one strand because the strands are together as I'm plying them. So it lets me handle this in lots of different ways. So if I want to have it come across the back of my hand like that and then be there pinched upstream, that's doable. I tend to use this because it's fairly easy. Now, I can also feed it more actively up to the orifice, pull back, let twist come all the way into the stuff under tension, feed that on. Twist comes back, feed that on. Twist comes back, feed that on. Now, if you use this method, where you're feeding it by moving your hand closer to the orifice and keeping twist out of it, you'll tend to find that you will unwind from your bobbins a little more jerkily, and that's where having a tensioned device can really make a huge difference. Because if your bobbins start to move really fast, you'll find that they will be spinning faster than the yarn that's coming off them is being taken up onto the bobbin that you're plying onto. And in that case, you can get backspin from the bobbins where they start to spin the opposite direction, loose bits of yarn that want to tangle. With a good lazy Kate, you've got plenty of things to tension the yarn and the bobbins both, and you don't even really have to think about that. Now, what if you don't have a fancy tensioned lazy Kate? In that case, get your finger in between the two plies. So let's say it's not tensioned. In this case, you want to be able to keep the yarn under tension and control where it's joining together. I've only got 2 strands, so I've only got 2 strands I have to worry about controlling where they're coming from here. You can do this in lots of different ways. I still like to use my fingers up here to feel the twist going in, so that I know how much twist we're getting in. If you watch it closely, you can see stuff coming together. Now, let's say that you're having trouble getting stuff to unwind smoothly from your bobbins for one reason or another. One factor in this can be that your bobbin may not be very well wound. Now I'm sliding this up. I can pull this out and hold this there and slide that up. And then that allows me to use this upstream hand exclusively for managing the tension. And then the forward hand is controlling the twist as it goes into the plied yarn. And this can be a good way to control yarn that is freshly spun, so your twist is active, or yarn that isn't feeding well off of your bobbin. Now, this looks pretty twisty up here, but the twist is going to balance out and even out over various spots going onto our flyer, so that what we actually have on the flyer is nowhere near as high twist as it looks like it was going in. Now, what if you want to control this from a different angle? Come from above. Put a finger in the middle from above. And then you can watch your drafting zone, as your plying zone, so to speak, running it over your other hand, the back of your hand, any part of your hand that lets you look at it closely as the ply is coming together. So you can manage your twist with upstream with a forward hand, or you can attempt to do it all with one hand. I usually use just one hand, and that lets me do something like drink a beer or a cup of coffee with the other hand, or things like that, or operate my camera. So again, since I'm feeding this off of a pretty good lazy Kate, I don't have much trouble with dealing with the bobbins kind of clattering around and getting problematic.